right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Women's Holistic Health Conference. We're so excited that you are here. I have all of our speakers so we can introduce everybody and we will get started. So, first, we're going to introduce Elizabeth Watson. She's our manifestation and mindset master, and she is going to be leading us in an opening meditation, card pull, whatever spirit guides her to. So we're going to go ahead and start there. Take it away, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Ire. Hi, everybody. We're going to do a card pull because that felt like it would be a good note to start us off on. And I just kind of pulled to see what Spirit wanted us to know about this 3-day experience and reclaiming health in a more holistic, balanced, and femininely divine way. And I pulled from the Enchanted Compass Oracle from Colette Baron Reid, and the card that came out was 50 Compass. And this card is one of my personal favorites because it is exactly like it sounds. It's touching back into your own internal compass. It is getting back in touch with the power that resides within you and letting that be your guide. And there could not be anything better when you're getting in touch with what you need to heal yourself than looking within first. That's kind of why we're all here, is because we're sick of looking externally for answers that don't often fit anyway. And this is about getting back in touch with your insides. If you can see on the card here, the compass has two faces. It has the bottom face and the upper face, and that always speaks to me as below, as above, so below, as within, so without. That tenet that really speaks beautifully to a holistic kind of health. And radiating from inside the compass is this power that cannot be contained, this aura that is just bleeding into the world around it. And there is no background. There's nothing formed around this compass because all of it is the quantum field. Everything is within our control to direct, to guide, to manifest, to create, including our health. And I hope very much that as we go forward, that you find something from each and every one of us to help you reclaim that power, to tap into it, to feel it so strongly that you leave this experience knowing, not planning, not thinking about, but knowing that your health is in your hands in every aspect, mind, heart, body, and soul. It is yours to direct and tap back into your compass with any message that resonates for you in this experience. And thank you for joining us.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That was perfect for what I even needed to hear. It's been a rough day, so I am happy to be here and join everybody. So we're going to just go through real quickly and introduce everybody to you who's going to be speaking. We'll start with today's speakers. And since Madison's number one today, she'll be number one right now. So please, Madison, tell us all about yourself, what you're going to be speaking on, and anything else you want to say.
Hello, my name is Madison. I am a Reiki practitioner and a hairstylist. I am offering today Reiki for Peace, and I'm so excited, and it feels like such a full circle moment to be here because when I found Reiki, it was in a time in my life that was full of a lot of stress and anxiety. And when I started using the modality, it was something that immediately I felt and I witnessed the change in myself. And I went through the process of getting attuned. And this past year, I moved. I moved from Michigan to Florida, and I experienced all different kinds of stress and anxiety that were just not what I had experienced before, but Reiki still offered the same result of creating the energetic space in my body and making room for the peace and coming back to myself that it had when I first discovered it. And I'm actually sitting in my room, my old room where I don't live anymore. I just happened to be in Michigan when this is happening, and my room is empty. And it feels so good, the amount of energy that can just move. And that is what Reiki is for me on the internal. It's like when you rearrange your room, and sometimes we get rid of things, and sometimes we move it over there, and the energy just feels better. And that's what Reiki does inside of us. And so I'm really excited. I'm really grateful. I cannot wait to facilitate and to just be here with you all this weekend.
There we go. Yes, thank you for that. I am so excited that Madison's here, everybody. She'll be speaking in a little bit, but let's get everybody else introduced real quick. So the next speaker up will be Ashley. Ashley is our mala maker and one of our energy workers here. She will be speaking second today. So let's go ahead and have Ashley just give us a brief intro and tell us what you're going to be talking about tonight.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. My name is Ashley Rose. That's what I go by on social media. And I own my business, Elemental Connections and Creations. I am an energy worker. I'm also an elemental witch, mala maker, tarot reader. I do all the things. So I started telling people that I am many because I have so many things under my title that I do. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I help people get their energy back in alignment, whether it's through the lens of love or whether it's through shadow work. So I sit more in a space of duality because sometimes people function better in their shadows. Some people function better in their light space. So today I will be talking about how to really look at our identities, especially with it being Women's Health Month. So the focus on my talk is I will be sharing my personal story, and how we get lost in our identities. My talk is called Unbinding Authenticity, and I'm so excited to be able to share it because it wasn't until my own personal experience that I really had a profound transformation with myself. And it has everything to do with going inward and really connecting with yourself, because we as a society tend to put women in a box where it's just more and more and more. So my talk will actually discuss on how to get out of that cycle and how to define the identities that work for you. We all have things that we need to do with ourselves, but you have to do it in the lens of what your capabilities are and where you feel comfortable. Otherwise, we continue moving through and feeling like we're failing and not being successful, which we are successful. We just have to be able to look at it from a different perspective. So I am super excited about being here. I do make malas. Like I said, I do lots of other things, and in the VIP stuff, you should be able to see all that. So I can't wait to connect with you tonight and tomorrow. So Ire, thank you so much for having this. I really appreciate you.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here too. So that was the wonderful Ashley Rose. She will be speaking second tonight. We will go ahead and introduce, I believe Jen is speaking tomorrow, right, Jen? So we can let you go next. You're muted. Hang on. Let me get you unmuted. There you go. Nope. Now you're muted again.
There we go.
There we go.
Hi, I'm Jen McFarland from Monarch Dawn. I'm a TFT thought field therapy practitioner, and I've been doing that for over 10 years now. I'm going to be speaking on, I'll give a little bit of my story and why TFT has been so important to me and what it's done for me. I'm going to explain the basics of it. There's another modality that goes by tapping, and I'll talk about the differences. And then together we'll do some exercises, and you'll get instructions and instructional videos on how to do those for yourself. One is a great stress blocker, and one is something that I call it a comfort shortcut. You can do it in any moment to kind of help regain your equilibrium if you ever get into just a sort of an out of sorts, off kilter sort of feeling. And TFT is a tremendously powerful and effective process of releasing painful emotions from past experiences. I'm really looking forward to sharing it tomorrow.
Yes. Jen did an amazing job the other day. I was having some issues, and she reached out and was like, hey, let's do a session. And I'm telling you, it was like magic. So I'm super excited about her session coming up because of that. So you all do not want to miss that. All right, up next, let's have Sarai go. She is going to be speaking on the Divine Feminine, which is the theme this year, returning to the Divine Feminine. She is a business coach who is kind of witchy and woo and spiritual and combines all of that with actual practical business solutions and is just really good at helping women return to themselves. So I'll let her do the honors because I'm sure she can talk about it better than I can. But what are you going to talk about, Sarai?
Thank you so much, Ira. Yes, I'm so glad to be here and with all of these amazing women and all the attendees and participants. So I am an intuitive business coach, energy healer, and what I really enjoy, honestly, my true life's purpose and mission and passion is helping women learn how to create their own stable source of income. And what that often looks like is usually moms that are needing to either like transition out of corporate and into having their own business that is stable enough to replace that corporate income, or even stay-at-home moms that are really just needing to provide their own financial stability. So I'm all about bringing back, talking about like the power being within, right? Like bringing it back to self and bringing it back to center, because when you can really have your own source of income and know that like you are the stability and the financial security for yourself, then it's like it really just creates this rock, this foundation in your life. And so being able to like help women get into that place and share that with them, it lights me up. So one of the things that I really notice in working with clients and in my own life is this theme, this core of like helping women coming back to themselves, helping them return back to the divine feminine. And so what we're really going to do is dive into this topic, and we're going to discuss like, what is it, right? Like there's a lot of times there's mystery around it, and it's like, whoa, like what is this thing? And we're going to actually like make it very practical though. And what I mean by that is like break it down and figure out, okay, like this is how it's actually showing up in your life, right? Like this is the like the healthy version. This is the unhealthy version. This is how like to notice when you're in the unhealthy, and then even tools to help you shift out of that and into living and embodying that divine feminine energy on a daily basis. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then in the breakout sessions, we're going to be talking about, we're actually going to be applying that, and you can come in with all the questions, all the like real world examples for you, and we'll do our best to just dive into as much as we can. Thank you. I appreciate this so much.
Yes, Sarai is also awesome. Everybody here is awesome. That's why I invited them. But I've worked with Sarai a little bit here and there too, so I know that what she's bringing is going to be amazing, and you don't want to miss it. She is speaking Saturday, correct? So tomorrow? Is that? Yes. So she will be here tomorrow to speak and do her breakout session, so y'all do not want to miss it. All right, Tess, go ahead and tell us all about what you're going to be speaking about.
I just unmuted and then muted and then unmuted myself, but here I am on the right side of mute. So hello, thank you so much for that introduction, Ire. My name is Tess, obviously. It says on screen, Tess Fairbridge, and I work with women primarily in owning and reclaiming their voice, typically through creative expression and somatic experiencing. So my story is that I was in a dysfunctional, dangerous relationship, and when I went to school for coaching as a last-ditch effort or attempt to save my relationship, I ended up discovering my voice, discovering that I could write music, discovering myself as a writer, discovering myself as a performer, all these things that I had absolutely no idea were in me. And I was in my 30s at this point. And what I found out was that creative expression was a place for me to safely, responsibly, and appropriately put all of my huge, huge feelings around everything that was happening to me in my life. And it helped me discover my authentic self, what my values were, what I believed in, and who I really was. And that is what helped me actually eventually get out of that relationship and into an entirely different career and life path and all sorts of other things. And so it doesn't really matter to me whether is that true? I'm like questioning myself as I say it. Okay, so it's not really about whether my writing or my songwriting, for example, make me famous. what I want to say is that they saved my life and they continue to save my life. And I know I'm not speaking with the greatest mic right now, but every message here has made me really want to sing part of a song that I wrote over 7 years ago when I was coming out of that. So I'm just going to sing a tiny little snippet that I think speaks to what all of us are here for. And so it's just the very end of, it's not the very end, it's almost at the end of a song. So I know it doesn't really fully make sense, but I think you'll understand. All right. Now I'm however old, and I'll always know my body connects me to the great big whole when I listen and then take action. Reconnected with ancestral lineage, matriarchal of all the suppression thereof. And I know, we have the power to heal this. Oh, we are the ones we're waiting for. That's all I'm going to sing. But anyway, my little breakout session is going to help people reconnect with their authentic voice by connecting their throat, heart, and womb passage. And like I said, it saved my life. It saves my life daily. So I'm really excited to share it with you all. And thank you so much for having me, Ire.
Yes, of course. I am excited about your session too. Tess and I haven't actually worked together, I don't think, but I just know I've seen her testimonials and I know that she's amazing at what she does. So again, you don't want to miss her session either. And last but not least is Jamie. She is our clinical herbalist and just all around amazing woman and mom. She is going to come and talk about burnout and nutrition and herbs and all that fun stuff. I'll let her do the honors of telling you exactly what, but we'll let her introduce herself now.
No, you did a great job, Ire. Keep going. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Jamie. I'm an herbalist and healer. I'm here. I'm talking on Sunday, and I'm going to talk about something that I work with a lot of women about. Typically in my practice, I see a lot of women going through burnout, chronic exhaustion. I work with it a lot because I was there, a few years ago and had to figure all these things out on my own. And so I'd rather just help other women use the tools that I had to search for and wish that I had at that time. So we're going to go into healing food foundations, even going as far as to like how to drink coffee, things like that, our bodies need a little bit more support of, so that we're not losing minerals, but I'm also not trying to take away like your fun treat in the morning either. But we'll go over things like that. We'll go over some healing foods that I do love, my favorite burnout herbs, and then my favorite ways to use them as well. Some people get really intimidated when I talk about loose herbs or creating their own tea blends. And it doesn't have to be intimidating. It's really accessible and a really affordable way to support your health. One of my favorite ways to work with herbs is taking into the account the energetics and science of the herbs, because it's all blended. It's all, important. And yeah, so I can't wait to share. And thank you, Ire, for having me.
Yes, definitely. Fun fact, Jamie and I actually have attended the same school for herbalism. So I know that she knows what she's talking about and that she is really good at it. So really do not want to miss her talk either, because that is something that's super important for us as women. We get so busy, I think, taking care of everyone else, we forget to nourish ourselves. And when you don't nourish yourself, you start lagging and you don't have the energy to take care of anybody else, including you. And so we sometimes need to be selfish, right? And put ourselves first. And Jamie's talk is going to be really important about that. So you do not want to miss hers either. You don't want to miss anybody's, trust me, but please just come to all of them, and then you'll be. We are missing one person. We're missing Melanie. She's not here right now, but I will give a brief introduction about her so you know about her session. Melanie Raphael is going to be here speaking tomorrow, I believe, and she is our Akashic record reading badass. She is going to teach you how to access your own Akashic records to figure out what the energetic root cause is for all of those health issues that we tend to have pop up as women. And all of these speakers will work together to help us do that as well and address everything that's going on. She has this way of looking at it, and it's amazing. I don't even know how she does it, but she used mine to like help design my website and a bunch of other stuff, and it's amazing. So definitely want to be here for her talk as well. And if those who are listening who don't know me, I'm Ayar Atla. I'm a medical astrologist, an astroherbalist, and an astronutritionist, and I help women heal their bodies using their cosmic blueprint and their natal charts. And I usually work with women who are having hormonal issues. I healed my own body of endometriosis using medical astrology as my tool to show me what my body needed, give me the root cause, and then help me fix it through nutrition and herbs and lifestyle changes and all of that fun stuff. And now I help other women do the same. So I am excited to be hosting this year with all these amazing speakers and women to help you heal your body on multiple different levels. So we will get started right now. We are going to have Madison then come on forward and do her, I think she said you're doing a workshop, right? So we're going to have her do her Reiki workshop and see what magic she is bringing to us today. Okay, Madison, are you frozen? Oh, there you go.
Yes. Oh, am I unfrozen now?
There you go.
Can you hear me?
It keeps flashing in and out. I can hear you. It's just your video is having issues apparently.
It's low?
Yeah, your video is frozen.
Oh, hold on.
For on my end, your video is not frozen, but like the volume is just really low on the audio.
Okay, I changed the audio to my computer. Okay. I had to change the audio to my computer because they said it was not good through my headphones. Let me try this really quick. Oh, it won't let me change my mic. Okay. Is this a little better?
Yeah, I can hear you better.
Cool. Let me share. Okay. Hello. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here. So, something I wanted to do is actually facilitate a session today. If you are unfamiliar of what Reiki is universal life force energy. I am a channel and I connect to the energy and then channel that to you. If you have not experienced Reiki before, it is a very gentle energy. It's going to do exactly what it needs to do. The only thing you are required to do is be open to receive. And I do always ask for consent as well before we start working that you do consent to receive the energy. My favorite part about Reiki, and this is my favorite way to describe it, I was describing it a little bit earlier in my introduction, is imagining when you go into a space and it just feels crowded and it feels like almost like stuck. When we facilitate Reiki, it creates energetic space in your body. And so it goes through and it moves those things around. And like I was saying, sometimes we have to get rid of them. So some people do have an emotional release. You may feel it in your body somewhere. Some people will feel it in their stomach, in their head. Maybe you'll have to get up and walk around. Sometimes you want to scream. It's different for everyone depending on what you need at the time. And so as the energy moves through you, it creates this space for what it is your intention is with the healing. And today I'm offering Reiki for Peace. It felt really important. It feels like a lot of people are going through a lot right now. And peace is something that just brings us back. It will bring us back into our bodies, bring us back into this moment. And I really feel that it is the best way to kick off an event like this. And so does anyone have any questions about Reiki, about the process? It will be a short session. I do recommend just to be comfortable. You are more than welcome to sit up. You can lay down if that's more comfortable for you. I will lead us through a meditation first and then start facilitating. You will see sometimes there will be movements of my hands on the screen. Sometimes it will, if messages do come through, I do have, oh, thank you, Ire. I do sometimes have messages that need to be said out loud. And I also sometimes receive messages that are felt on an energetic level. And so I use discernment for the things that do come through, because sometimes it's almost like the souls needed to hear it. And so I will write down notes. If anything specific does come through for anybody, I can let you know through the session. If you are watching the replay of this, the energy is the same. The only thing that is required of you is to be open to receive. And like I said, it will create the experience. It will create the energy of exactly what is needed at this time. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. We're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen so I can play some music, and I will just need some feedback as far as if you can hear me speaking over the music. So let me get this. Okay. Whoops. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay. Does it need to be adjusted on anyone's end? Higher, lower, a little too loud? Okay, let me lower that. Thank you. Is that better? Okay. Okay. All right, ladies. I just want to start with a few deep breaths, and we'll breathe out for 5. Breathing in for 5 and out for 5. One more time, breathing in for 5 and out for 5. I am asking that you consent that I enter your energy fields. The only thing you need to do is say yes to receive. Okay. I'm so honored to be facilitating with you tonight. We're going to take one more deep breath. And on the exhale, just feel into your body. Feel the connection you have with the floor, with the chair you're on. Maybe you're laying down. Feel the connection with the couch. The only place you need to be in this moment is here. Open to receiving. And your next breath in, just fill with love. Feel it. Fill your lungs. And on your breath out, imagine roots growing down through your body, through the floor, through the ground, the soil, reaching all the way down to the core of the earth. Feel the connection of your being in this moment. Feel the power that is in this moment of being. In this stillness, allow yourself to sink deeper into this feeling, to let go of the day. I'm cleansing our energy with selenite. On your next breath in, feel your body get heavier, more relaxed, more in this space. I'm connecting through your energy, coming in, putting my hands on your shoulders. It is so safe to be here, to be in your body. Just picking some things out of your energy field that are no longer serving you. It is so safe to step into your power. It's safe to live your fullest expression and to feel good while doing it. Coming back to ourselves, to our bodies, to this safe space of peace, feeling every inch of you being infused with this peace and this grounded energy, knowing that you are held infinitely. You are so supported. Imagine a vacuum at your feet, sucking out all the unstable, the anxiety-inducing energy, the things that we no longer have space for. We allow it to release and let go. Feel yourself let go and allow yourself to receive. We'll now start coming back into our bodies, maybe moving your fingers, wiggling your toes. Maybe you need to stretch. Thank you so much for being here and being open to receiving this energy. Please know that this Reiki energy will continue to move through you over the next few days. Allow it to move what it needs to move. Be open to receiving the fresh and the new energy, the space. Thank yourself. I am so thankful for you for being open to creating that space. That I call my energy back. I'm going to turn off the music now. Take your time coming back. There's no rush. Allow yourself to move and just embrace everything that just took place and the goodness that there was.
Was amazing. Thank you so much, Madison. That very much needed for me. I think probably for everyone else. I appreciate you. I appreciate your work.
Thank you, sister. I did have a couple things to say that came up throughout. I did connect with each person in a different sense and cleared energy in different areas. And so as a collective, I don't know if you felt it, but we had a big group hug at the end, and it just felt so good. And the main message that came through a lot, very strongly, was there is safety in the release. So I'm not sure who needs to hear that in what context, but it feels really important. So I just need you to know that there's safety in the release.
Yes. And that's good to remember, because I think sometimes we get stuck and afraid to release things because it feels hard, it's unsettling.
Absolutely.
It's out of our comfort zone. We feel comfortable hanging on to that stuff, even if it's not meant for us anymore. So that is a fantastic message that I think everyone
absolutely
probably needs to hear. I know I needed to hear that. So thank you again, Madison. I really appreciate you coming. This was awesome. And
thank you.
If you are watching the replay, just know that, as she said, all this energy and stuff still comes through the replay. It's not like it just dies with the end of the live, right? Just let everybody know,
absolutely,
Madison, where they can find you if they want to look into booking an actual personal session with you.
Yes. I am going to put my info in the chat. Mm-hmm. I am currently booking sessions via email. So because I am being very conscious of when I am doing them. So I will put that in the chat there, and where to find me on Facebook and my email. And if anyone is in the Florida area that is watching this, I also offer in-person sessions as well. And I would love to facilitate for you.
Yes, definitely reach out to her. And if you haven't already, I forgot to mention this earlier, don't forget to grab your swag bag. This has all kinds of amazing stuff from all of the speakers that you get as a courtesy and a thank you for coming and joining us. Everybody is giving away some pretty awesome stuff. If you upgrade to the VIP ticket, you get a chance to even win free sessions with the speakers and myself. And so it is definitely something that you want to check out. So there is the link in the chat for the swag bag, and I will attach that to the replay as well for those watching the replay. But that is all the free gifts that you can go and download and claim for coming as a thank you for this amazing event. And if you want to upgrade to your ticket to get the VIP sessions, I will put that link in here now as well. All right. Thank you again, Madison. We are going to keep moving so we don't run over, because I know it's late on the Eastern Coast. So we will bring Ashley forward and let her talk to us all about her amazing transformation and how you too can have the same one.
Hello, hello. Oh, I'm so excited to be here, Madison. That was beautiful. Thank you for doing that. I know I was nervous before. I feel much better now, so I appreciate you going first. So this is slightly interactive because I do have some questions, but because my talk is about identities, I want to ask everyone a question, and you can put it in the chat. Have you heard of the phrase, one who wears many hats? I'd say raise your hands, but just say yes in the chat if you've heard of that phrase before, one who wears many hats. Okay, we see some people coming in and commenting on that. So why is this phrase important for this talk? Well, I'm going to explain that to you. I want to tell you a little bit about myself first. My name is Ashley Rose, if you didn't catch it in the intro, and I am an energy worker. I call myself a duality coach because I operate on the love side as well as the shadow side. So I operate on both sides. There is power in both light and darkness. So I lost my train of thought. I apologize. Give me 1 second. I'm a mom of 4 kids, mother of 4 children, and a wife. So, mom brain, we often lose our train of thought at times. But that is actually going to lead into my question that I asked earlier about one who wears many hats. So we as women tend to wear many hats. So let's go on a little journey here. You're a young woman, you decide you want to get married, and now you choose a suitable mate. You are married. You now have the hat of wife on. So the way I wear my hats is I put them on and they tend to consume me all the way down, because what are we? We're wives all the time, right? So you decide with your husband or your partner or whoever that is that you want to have children. So you become parents. And what do we become now as women? We become mothers. So we put on the hat of mothers. And it goes all the way down. For me, because I have 4 children, I wear the hat 4 different times. If you have multiple children besides one, or you have multiple pets besides just one, you understand that when it comes to mothering / parenting, you have to parent differently for each child. So with all due respect, that parent hat is as many children as you have, because you don't parent them all the same. So you may have 1 parent hat, you may have 4 parent hats like I do. So we go on, and let's say now that your children are getting a little older, you're shuttling them around. Well, now you wear the taxi hat, right? Taxi hat, maybe your kids play sports, you're wearing the parent sport hat. See where I'm getting with this? So we have hat upon hat upon hat upon hat upon hat. Now, I'm going to Dr. Seuss this a little bit because I'm a mom of 4 kids. So if you take a step back, does your hats go topsy-turvy all the way up? Or are you like me and your hats just consume you, where your hat is here, hat is here, hat is here, because you are doing them all the time. You may be taxiing, you're always a mother, your husband's calling you, your spouse is calling you saying, hey, go to the grocery store, I need you to cook. Well, we have the cooking hat. So, you see what I'm saying about that? Now, we as women, when we go to put these hats on, who are we learning them from? We're learning them from our family. We're learning about them from our friends. We're learning about them from our environment. We have all different avenues where we are learning what these are. But you know, we aren't told about these hats. No one ever tells us that we can define what these hats are for us. This is important. I want you to remember that. So to share my story with you, I, again, have said that I'm a mother of 4 children. I am a wife. I'm a business owner. I ran my husband's business. So let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 hats already. I'm a friend. I'm a taxi driver. I've even called myself a WWE referee because my children like to, fight all the time. So I gotta split them up. So I wear all these hats all the time. And it was a couple years ago when Spirit was starting to knock on my door, and I was connected, but not connected. I was learning what everything was around me. And I was getting kind of these nudges. And when I say by that, let me see if I can describe it in a familiar way. So you're going through life and you're doing things that maybe isn't what you expected you would be doing if you asked your high school self what you would have been doing. If you asked my high school self if I would have been working with clients and negotiating lanes and rates and things like that, I would have said, huh? Which is what I did before I got into my business. So as I was going through, I became a wife, I became a mother. I felt really good about that. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I was doing my business. I liked the business that my husband had set up, and I was allowed we were partners into working it together, but I eventually was the one who took over most of that business. So as I'm going through and I'm having all these experiences, I'm starting to get really consumed all the time with these hats and these identities. So I'm waking up at 7, even earlier than that, between 5 and 7 in the morning. I'm taking care of the kids, I'm flipping laundry, I'm doing dishes, I'm getting started at work, I'm making sure the kids get on the bus. And then my day is just like that all day long, between having work to do. My son has a chronic illness. He was diagnosed with juvenile arthritis. So my day was often broke up between work and doctor's appointments, work, picking up kids, doing the taxi driving, cooking dinner. And you know what I didn't say in any of that was any time for myself. But I didn't register that, because what happens when we start talking about time for ourselves? Oh my gosh, you're being selfish. Oh, you stay at home, so you're not helping your family. Oh, you're a mother that works outside the home. How are you taking care of your kids? It's like no matter what we do as women, nothing is ever good enough. So what does that ingrain in us? That tells us that we need to work harder. Maybe if I work harder, maybe things will get better. So as I'm going through the motions of all this, I can see that, well, my children don't seem like they're super happy. I'm going through the motions with my husband, and my husband doesn't seem like he's super happy. And I'm just picking up on all of these critiques all the time. And it was not necessarily my children's fault, but because of the space, or my husband's fault, but it was because of the space that I was in. I was constantly giving. And I wasn't receiving anything back. And at the time I thought, well, maybe my husband needs to get back to me, or my kids need to get back to me. I'm going to tell you that that's not actually how that works. You have to be able to give to you. And I'm going to share with you why. So as I'm going through my workday and I'm looking around and I'm going through the motions, I finally had a thought to myself of, is this really my life? Is this my life now? And I remember more that I went through it, the less confident I became. I did a phenomenal job with my husband's business. That was also mine, but he started it. I was making all kinds of money for my clients, but because I wasn't confident in myself and I wasn't presenting it in a confident manner and in an empowering manner on behalf of myself, my clients started questioning me. So they thought that maybe I wasn't working hard enough. So I had things going on with my children. I'm trying to be professional. My kids are needing my attention. I feel like I'm failing my kids because I can't give them the attention that I want. I'm chucking ice cream sandwiches at them thinking that's going to be better. Well, that's making everything worse because now they're on sugar highs and now they need naps. And it just was making the day very, very crazy. It seemed like no matter how I cleaned the house, when my husband would come home, he didn't seem like he was very satisfied about it. But really, it wasn't the house. It's just what my perception was. So as I'm going through this and I'm trying to work harder, and what I mean by that is I'm adding more and more of myself into these roles of motherhood and wifehood and business owner and taxi driver and cook and cleaner. I'm depleting all of my own resources. And I remember sitting there one day looking at my kids, looking at this computer screen that was in the corner of the room. I'm in my office, and I started feeling, I can really feel myself this day. And this was a day that I was particularly feeling very low. I would say going back and looking at it, I had days that were progressively feeling worse and worse and worse as I was trying to throw more in the kitchen sink at everybody of why aren't you happy? Why I'm doing all these things and they're still not happy. Well, the reason why was because I was not happy. I was not happy doing all of these things because I had all this built up resentment and built up pain that I wasn't really sure where it was coming from. And it wasn't until I sat down and I just looked around and I heard this very intrusive thought. This is a trigger warning. So I heard the thoughts of, your children don't need you. Your husband doesn't need you. No one will miss you. You can just off yourself. And that was a really profound, scary moment for me as a parent and as a wife and as a person. And I remember thinking to myself, where is this coming from? And I'm crying at this point because that's a horrible thought to have. And I think to myself about all of the women out there. All of us have had moments of just complete stress and not understanding where it's coming from or how to fix it because we're putting all of ourselves out there. And at that moment, when I had those thoughts, my two youngest children put their arms on my arms as I was crying, and I heard them say, "Mommy, it'll be okay. Mommy, it's okay. I love you." And I remember hearing those intrusive thoughts again, and my children coming around me at that point, asking me, "Mommy, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" And it made me feel so much better because I had this perception that they were in their own world and they have no idea that they really saved me that day. But it dawned on me that my light had been dimmed so much by what was going on and all the chaos that I was trying to fix that I became a beacon for negative energy and negative entities. And those intrusive thoughts that were coming to me were not my own. So at that point, I had hugged my children and thanked them for the love that they gave me. And I went through my house and I energetically commanded all energy that doesn't belong to me, all energy that is negative, unwanted, be gone. I went through my house. I did different essential oils. I burned sage. I energetically cleared it through visualizations. And I started really getting a different view on what was happening. And then I could hear myself say, "Turn around. turn around and look at me. And at this point, I'm having a quiet moment with myself. And that had been the first time that I had actually gone inward and looked at my pain. And this is what I saw. I saw myself standing there. I'm going to back up. And myself was bound. I had all these rings around my body. I had the ring of motherhood. I had the ring of wife. I had the ring of business owner. I had the ring of house cleaner. Basically, it was all the things that I just was constantly going through in my day. And they were tight. You could see that they were cutting into me. Of course, I wanted to help myself, so I said, what do I do? And my inner self said, cut them. Cut them all. And the amount of anxiety that gave me was a lot. Because when I looked at the label of motherhood, it was hard to cut that. I'm a mom. What does that mean to cut it? So I had to sit with myself when we talked about what it meant to actually cut these labels off. And in that conversation, myself, said we're going to redefine these labels for us. I am a different energy compared to other people. Consistency is not 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for me. Consistency looks different every single day for me. And I had to learn about who I was by cutting these labels and redefining the labels for myself. Now, how did this help me? Well, first and foremost, I cut all these labels and I decided that I was going to put myself first. That was hard to say as a mother. But what I was doing, throwing everything in the kitchen sink and the noodles, waiting for it to stick, wasn't working. Because the harder that I worked for everyone else, it seemed like the worst that everyone got. Because we as a society tend to just demand more and more and more because we're so go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And you have to be that person to stand up and say, no, I'm not doing that. Enough is enough. So the first thing that I did was I evaluated everything throughout the day. And at the time, the business that I was running, that was my husband's, was sucking the life out of me. And that was the first empowering moment that I had where I looked at my husband. I had already had a talk with myself. And I told him, I said, if you love me and you care about my mental health and you care about having me around, you will let me stop this business. I have to stop. It's too much. I was working early morning, late hours, and it wasn't allowing me to be the mother that I needed to be the business person I needed to be, because I didn't want to be that kind of business person. And more importantly, I had no time for myself at all. So after we had that conversation, we did come to an agreement that it would be best if I took time away from that business. Now, in the talk that I had with myself after I cut the rings, I asked myself, who are you? I was 34 years old, asking myself that question. And I had never taken the time to actually ask myself that question. And I didn't know what to expect when I was talking to myself. But myself, my inner me, responded, you are a creative. My youngest may be bursting in here. But I said I was a creative. And that resonated with me so much because when I looked throughout my day of how it was going, it was so regimented and structured and controlled by so many other aspects between doctor's appointments and children's things and my kids and my husband. It was everything. The day controlled me. I didn't control the day. And really, at the end of the day, I lost myself in all these identities because I thought that was what I needed to do. I thought that is what made me be the best service to other people, because I liked giving myself to other people. But it was also not on my own terms. I was giving because of the demand, instead of giving from what I knew that I could give without sacrificing my authenticity. And that is what happened. That was where my dark night of the soul came into, where I learned that I really, throughout the years, had sacrificed some of my best parts. So I didn't dwell on that because that's kind of sad. I looked at it as time is just a concept, and I'm starting fresh. I'm still very young, and I decided that I was going to define these labels for myself moving forward. By being able to define these labels moving forward, you gain so much. You gain clarity. You learn where your boundaries are. You learn what your capabilities are. You really start learning how to test yourself and learning what you will do and what you won't do. Because it's all about tolerance and the experiences and how you want to put yourself out there and what you're willing to receive. Because the thing about it is how we look at our day now, or those who were in that heavy grind, you wouldn't ask your 5-year-old to do that kind of day. 5-year-olds get naps. They get 2 snacks a day at a minimum, plus food 3 times a day. What are we running on as moms in the heavy hustle grind? Caffeine and anxiety, right? We wouldn't ask our children to do that, which, by the way, I learned that from Sarai. If you haven't worked with her, you need to work with her. But she's been an amazing coach to work with. But at the end of the day, she's right. And I wouldn't ask my children to do that. We wouldn't ask our inner child to do that. So the secret to the sauce when it comes to being authentic to yourself is defining labels of what they mean to you, why do they matter, and everything that you can dissect when it comes to that label. So if everyone is open to it, I would like to go ahead and have maybe like a little interactive thought process here. So let's go with, I'm feeling called to talk about boundaries, because part of living in your authenticity is having some boundaries. So if you are sitting through this and you would like to participate, grab a piece of paper, grab your thoughts, mental pen if you have one, if you don't have paper, and I want you to think about what boundaries truly mean to you. How do you define boundaries? And I think you'll be surprised to see that not everybody defines them the same. Go ahead and pop your comments in the chat. Ira's doing some awesome promotion, that's for sure. I do have a breakout session tomorrow. You are welcome to join. I believe it's 3:15 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, my time. Ira, correct me if I'm wrong. We will be going more in depth into labels and what they mean for us. And the reason why it's really important for you to define your labels is so that you have some solid clarity so that you can move through life. Because sometimes, especially boundaries, if you don't have a firm grasp on what boundaries mean for you, boundaries and standards are 2 different things. But if you don't have a true understanding of what they mean for you, a lot of times we tend to put ourselves in situations not understanding, oh, I'm okay with this or I'm not okay with this. What is my boundaries? And you don't realize until you're in an uncomfortable space, how are you going to get out of it? You're being more reactive instead of proactive. So setting boundaries and knowing what your boundaries are in a multitude of areas, understanding your boundaries when it comes to work, understanding your boundaries when it comes to your relationships, even your friendships, understanding boundaries when it comes to your family. Sometimes we have really heavy-handed family members that like to impose opinions and thoughts. Same thing with relationships, understanding your boundaries energetically and understanding boundaries when it comes to your mental health, your self-care. What is a requirement for you so that you can always be filled up? So that way, especially if you're a giver to other people, if you're a parent, if you do anything that requires you giving your energy to anyone, you should understand what your boundaries are. So that way, you know when you have to take a step back instead of suffering from burnout and feeling this pain. So let's see what individuals are saying here. Boundaries to me are a way to teach others how to be in a relationship with me. That's really good, Jamie. I like that. Madison, boundaries, the lines I draw around myself and my energy, what my limitations are. I like that, Madison. Thank you. Iyer says boundaries help me keep my energy within me and not spreading it out to people or things that are not welcoming to my energy. So you are, if anyone else wants to add that in there, you're welcome to do that. The other thought that I want to leave with you is my mom brain. I had it. It was right on the tip of my tongue. Understanding, here we go. Understanding that it's okay to look at yourself and figure out what's going on. It's okay and it's perfectly safe to turn around and talk to yourself. The safest place that you are is within your own body. It doesn't matter what kind of shadows you have around. Your shadows are actually parts of you that will help guide you into healing. Sometimes people are really afraid to look at some of the turmoil and the things that they've really felt in their life. It doesn't have to be painful doing that. And it's okay for you to turn around and ask your pain, ask your trauma, ask your hurt, or even any of the burdens that you have on you. What can I do to help you? And sometimes that emotion will say, I just need you to sit with me. And that, where Madison said, it's safe to release, she's right. It's safe to cry. It's safe to let it out. Sometimes you may feel like you need to just energetically just blow it out. You know, in some of my sessions when I help people in their shadow work, we create little caves where energetically you can go in there and you can just scream and yell and do whatever you need to do that, because you're doing it in a sacred space that you create. You build it on your own. That's part of being empowered. Doing energy work and going into yourself is part of you being your empowered and best self, because you're taking control. No one else is dictating to you what you need, what you should, what you could, any of that. You can stop all the chatter from other people, because by setting your boundaries, learning what these labels mean to you, you begin to set in the stage for what you want to receive and what you're willing to give. Madison, you are very welcome. I believe that is the end of my segment. If you want to pop on, I really appreciate all of you being here. I hope it was really helpful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your comments in the chat if you want. And I am available Facebook-wise under Ashley Rose. I'll put it in the chat as well. Elemental Connections and Creations. And you can also, thank you, Jamie. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and my website is www.elementalconnectionsandcreations.com. And I'll put my email in there if you want to connect and do any kind of sessions with me.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. That was very good. I resonated with so much of that too, because I feel the same way. I feel like I have like 1,000 hats stacked on top of me sometimes because, I'm a mom. I too have 4 kids. Now, 2 of mine are adults now, young adults, and, don't need me as much anymore.
It doesn't matter.
But let me tell you, just a few weeks ago, something happened and they immediately were like calling us for something, and we're not anywhere currently near them, and we're trying to like help them through it doesn't matter. Like, they may be young adults, but they still reach out to us when they need things, and I am happy that they do that, right? Because I've never felt safe to do it with my own parents, like, ever. Once I left the house, they were basically like, yeah, well, you're on your own now, don't talk to us, don't call us, we're not going to be there for you, because we're just glad that you're finally gone, right? And I didn't want that for my kids, so my kids definitely do not feel that way. They call us constantly, so I'm glad that they do that. But it's like, you think, oh good, they're young adults, they're on their own, I can drop a couple hats. No. No, you still keep them, and then I have my 2 younger kids that, are still at home, because one just turned 12, the other one will be 11 in a couple of months. Like, they still need us a lot. And then, I'm a wife, and I own a business, and I run that, and there's just so many things that you don't think about, and you start taking on those roles, and sometimes who we are individually gets lost in the process.
Right. I want to
Mhm.
clarify really quickly about the motherhood hat. When I talk about cutting those identities, what I mean by that, and I should have clarified this, and I apologize for not, when we are learning about what all these roles are, it's really important that we look at where we received all that information from, because we're learning it from family, we're learning it from our friends, we're learning it from our environment. We have social media, we have TV. I mean, social media is in our face all the time. I mean, if you don't have the perfect body, if you're not holding your kids 24/7, or if you're holding your kids too much, I mean, there's so many things all the time being thrown
Mhm.
at us on what is acceptable versus what is not acceptable. And at the end of the day, when it comes to you learning how to label things for yourself, you have to shut all that off, and you have to peel back all of these beliefs. So I highly encourage you, when you go to define labels for yourself, you dedicate at least a page to 2 pages on each label. And I mean, dissect it to the bare minimum, and really truly look at, what does this mean for me? Because it doesn't mean that you can't be a mother. Like what you said, you took your experience on
Mhm.
what you experienced and realized you didn't want to be that kind of parent. So you chose to redefine parenthood and motherhood for yourself in a different facet based on experiences. And some people, they go the opposite way, because, well, that's how I was raised.
Mhm.
Just because you do that doesn't mean that it's right.
Yeah.
So it's really important that with each of these labels, you look at them and you really peel back, and you think about all the things that you have learned about what this is. Do I resonate with it? Do I believe that this is what this is? No, I don't feel that that's actually what this is. It's okay to have those hard conversations with yourself internally. No one's there to judge you. And you write them down, and you write them down until you truly write that phrase of, motherhood is, boundaries for me are. And until you really say, you know what, that's
Mhm.
it, you dissect it until you get to that point. And when you reach that phrase and you know what that is, and you'll feel it, you will know that this is what this means for me. You become more elevated, more empowered, and you become armed throughout the day, where you can start taking control. And when people try to test those boundaries, or they try to test your labels and limits, you can say, you know what, no, not today.
Yeah, because you've defined them and you know where they are. And I think you're right, when we haven't defined
Yep.
those boundaries or really even thought about it, because maybe you did grow up in a house where boundary stompers abounded, and you were, not allowed to have a boundary without someone getting mad about it, then you don't realize sometimes that
Right.
you haven't actually set a boundary, or you think you have, but then when someone comes to stomp on it, that feeling of like how you were raised comes back, and you just immediately fold, right? And so it's important to not only define them, but then be willing to stick to them if they get challenged, because they will. That's just life. And when we set an intention for something, the universe will throw things in our way to see how, like, oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
How you're
Like,
doing?
okay, well, you said you wanted to do this. Now let's see if you're willing to stick to it, right? It'll throw that to make sure that we were really wanting
Yep.
that. How much do we want it? How true are we going to be? So yeah, 100%. It's a different life when you start living your authentic self and just being you, but it is so worth it. You might lose people along the way, But honestly, if they're that easy to like just jump out of your life when you change to a person that they don't like, then they probably weren't there for a good reason to begin with, right? And the universe was removing them from your life for a reason. So
Right. I think when I started living this way, my word of the year, because I do a word of the year every year to really reflect on, and I sit with myself and I ask myself and my spirit team, what is a word that I should live by? And this specific year is freedom. And I've really tapped into what does it mean to authentically be me? What does authenticity, what does the word authentic mean? And for me personally, it means that I stand in my truth for always. I mean, forever and always. You know, what is true to me right now? I'm honoring my feelings. I'm honoring my darkness. I'm honoring my love. And I really take the time to sit in those spaces and see what is it that I need to do that's best for me. And I've seen lots of negative talk about self-care and, oh, you shouldn't put yourself first before your children. Let me tell you something. My kids are a priority all the time. My youngest one is attached to me 24/7, and if she could be up my butt 24/7, she would. That would be the space that she would choose. But I have to take time for myself so that way I can be my best self for her. Because I've found that when I'm so depleted and I'm not doing, like, I don't get creative, because that's what I am. I'm a creative. If I don't get to sit down and be creative, if I don't get to sit down and express my creativity in any fashion, I get grumpy. I'm not the mom that I want to be. I'm grumpy with my husband. I'm grumpy with everybody, because for the love of God, I just want to be able to sit down and create something. Want to be able to do that. And when I'm able to do that and I set that time to myself, I'm a totally different person. So sit with your shadows, learn how to do that. You will learn who you are and what it means for you to be authentic, and you will gain just an immense amount of freedom. And that I will never give that up again, ever. Once you get to taste that freedom, you'll never let that go.
My kids all say, look, we like a happy mom, because when mom's happy, like, we're happy, the house is happy, everything runs smoothly. And when you're cranky, then everything is so weird and different and bad. We don't like it. We want you to be happy. So they are to the point where they're like, oh, Mom, you're a little cranky today. And they'll catch it before I will sometimes. And I'll be like, oh, and then I'll start realizing that, oh, I am kind of cranky. And they're like, what do you need to do? And they're like really good at reminding me to like go take some time for myself, because they know that when I do that, I come back and they get the mom that they really like, instead of the cranky mom who's just like barely subsisting that day, right? And that's what they need, and that's what they love. And, you know, my husband, he'll take me or leave me no matter what I am. He doesn't even care, right? But he's an adult, and he, you know, can deal with things like that better, because he's, you know, got that full reasoning brain, and children don't have that. And they don't always understand that mom being cranky isn't a reflection on them or anything about that. It's just literally, I need some time to myself. So I'm glad that I have apparently done a good job with my kids, because they realize that, but they also do it for themselves too. I see them all the time. I'm not feeling well today. I'm going to go to my room and, you know, take some time to myself, or I'm gonna, you know, because they understand that that's what they need. So it's definitely having mom do that. I set a good example for having them do that. So when you do that, you not only change your own life, but you change your family's lives too, because the kids will model what they see. And if they see mom taking time for herself when she needs it, they'll do it too. And so you teach them from a young age that it's okay to take care of you, right? Yes.
Absolutely. I remember seeing you talk about that on your post. I've said it. I think I've seen a couple other of the speakers here as well. They say it, and I'm so glad to be a part of this team, because this is really everyone has something transformative to provide. So I'm so glad I was able to be here.
Yes,
Ira,
I am glad you're here too. It's everything that's coming in this conference is something that I not only need, but I know so many other people need too. The collective is screaming for something different, and this is what this conference is looking to provide, right? Something different. So every speaker that I chose was very carefully chosen for the modality that they use, the information that they know, the work that I've done with them. So I know like everybody I has coming is literally somebody that I've either personally worked with or have known people that have personally worked with them, or something. There is some connection there, and I was very intentional in who I chose. And I think that we have ourselves an amazing group of women that are coming to speak that will be able to provide that transformation that people are looking for if you put into action the things that they are talking about, which is why the breakout sessions are so important, y'all, coming to. So upgrade to that VIP ticket so you can come to those, because you will get to talk to and work with Ashley one-on-one for 45 minutes in that breakout session, which is an amazing thing, because all these speakers, their normal prices for a one-to-one session like that for 45 minutes or more usually start around $100 to $200 or more and go up from there, as they should, because they are amazing at what they do and they deserve that price, right? So upgrading to the VIP ticket for $97 is cheap, because that'll get you access to everybody for that one low price. And you get lifetime replays too. So why not, right? Otherwise, you only get the replays for 72 hours. Everybody does have access to the swag bag, though, the general swag bag that we are giving out with free gifts from all of the speakers as a thank you. So I'm going to drop that in the comments once again. If you haven't already, go there and claim your free gifts from everybody. And if you upgrade to the VIP, you get a chance to win a free session with one of the speakers or myself. So it's going to be amazing. We start again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Mountain, which is 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 p.m. Eastern. And we go until 2 p.m. here, so that'd be 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Pacific. There we go. I think I got that right. Anyways, we're definitely starting at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We are going to dive in with Melanie with the Akashic Record, so please come to that. We'll have 2 speakers. We will have a brief lunch break where Elizabeth's going to come back, do some movement medicine with us. We will have like a 45-minute-ish, 30-minute, whatever it was, lunch break, and then we will come back for the last speaker of the day, and then those who upgrade to the VIP ticket will get to jump into the breakout sessions after that. So we are really looking forward to seeing you guys there. And again, don't forget, claim your swag bag, upgrade to that VIP ticket, come see Ashley tomorrow at her breakout session, and join the rest of us. We will talk to you guys later. See you tomorrow.